Welcome, welcome. Welcome to the newest episode of Change by Choice. Today we are tackling a heated topic. Yep. I say heated because we're going to be talking about anger. And, anger is a topic that I'm sure every single person out there is dealing with. You're either on the receiving end of anger with somebody in your life, or you're having a hard time in a situation or with somebody that you just can't control your anger. So this podcast is going to be for you. And if you don't battle any anger, you'll still get something from it, because I'm sure at some point in time, something will make you upset. And this is great development for us to be able to be in control and understand how we tick and function so that we can be our best and our highest self in situations. And keep practicing towards that, because as I always say, it is a journey. It's a process. But before then, my name is Charlotte Fro, and I am the founder of Change by Choice. I also have a consulting company called Thrive Consulting. I am a certified high-performance coach, and I primarily really work with businesses in terms of their leadership and development processes. So I either do one-on-one coaching or I do consulting. I wear two primary hats, I guess, with my business. So all very exciting. I just came back from a week of getting recertified as a high-performance coach. So I was down in sunny San Diego. And I can't even tell you the power of getting back into the material. So for me, I'm always working on my business. I'm not only building out my brand right now, but I am also dealing with my clients and my projects, and my schedule is pretty packed. It was so amazing to be able to go and work in my business, and just be a part of it, my own personal development, to fill myself back up with new knowledge, new content, new inspiration, so that I can then go and serve my clients right now and my future clients to be in such a great way. So it did not disappoint me. My mentor, Brendon Burchard, he just puts me in awe every single time I see him and I hear him. Really is just somebody that leads by example. And, we are certified in a world-class certification process for coaching. There is nothing that's above this. And it just, every time I go back, it just reconfirms. It just reconfirms everything. And I'm really excited to share some amazing updates that will be coming soon in terms of high performance coaching. So just keep your eyes and ears peeled for some pretty amazing updates, some pretty amazing facts and content. So that will be coming soon. So now, let's talk about anger. This really hit home with me. This entire piece that I'm going to be talking about today was inspired by something that Brendon shared with us. We often tackle different, aspects, different, emotions and things that come up when we're either dealing with clients or just in terms of human nature. And anger is something that holds people back from being their highest self. And it's one that really can affect our mindset. So when he was talking about this, obviously I had a situation in my head that I immediately connected to. And I talk about it. Me and my mom, we butt heads. So, she was kind of at the pinnacle of this part, because I can't tell you countless situations where, for the majority of my time, I feel on it, I'm being my work. I'm role modeling. I'm leading by example. And there's just sometimes that one person, that one thing that just brings out the worst in you, right? And that for me is where I struggle. We all have that place. And the way he talked about it, it really hit home with me. He started off and he just said something so simple. Anger is either worry or hurt most of the time. And how many of us out there can really think about that last situation that either you were on the receiving end of anger or you were the person who was angry, and you just asked yourself the question, Was I worried or was I hurt? And even shifting perspective and looking at the other person. Do you think that they were worried about something? And how they managed the emotion was anger was coming out or hurt? And none of what I'm saying right now is going to, make everything okay in terms of anger. What we're going to do is just understand anger, to give us some more tools in our toolbox, to be able to, instead of getting caught in the anger, we can take a step back from the anger. Look at it from just a different angle. And so, it's when anger is showing up for yourself or for somebody else, look through it. Don't get caught in it. Because immediately what we want to start doing is defending, right? Defending ourselves, getting, just getting caught into the emotions. Then we start to not be our highest self, our best self, which then ends up leaving us feeling guilty or shameful or not feeling really great about the experience. Having that dialogue like, I wish I had said this or I wish I had done that. Because when you're caught in that storm, the energy is so intense that you kind of get pulled right into it unless you have the tools to be able to ask yourself certain questions in the moment and take that step back. Because at the end of the day, we really are in control. We cannot control the other person, but we can control ourselves. Every moment of every day is a choice that we can make to change, to course correct. So we're never out of control. That's, out of control is when we let our autopilot jump in. We have no thought. We have no process. We're just reacting. All you need to do is stop reacting, taking a few breaths and realizing that you're fully in control to know that you can change the outcome. Can't force somebody else. It's not about having the expectation on somebody else. It's about the expectation on yourself, on how you want to show up. And thinking about that. So you also mentioned that, and then when I started to reflect back, I was like, yeah, it kind of makes sense. Anger dissipates within 12 to 24 minutes. So even just that stepping away, that not getting caught into it, knowing that anger is going to subside for that person or for yourself. Give yourself the space. Words we can't take back. Right? Just thinking about that last situation. What's coming up in your head right now? Is it a one-time situation or is it with the same person over and over and over again? So the other part is the empathy that we can have within it. Again, when someone's angry and they're saying, I'm not talking about somebody yelling and being abusive and, saying things that are extremely, hurtful. This doesn't make their behavior okay. But it is okay to take a step back and ask yourself, like, where are they coming from? Because it's not yours to take on. Usually when people are angry, it's about something else. It's about themselves. And so it's also taking account that sometimes silence is the key. You don't have to say something back. You don't have to be a part of that energy. You've got to start to gauge what is going to get you the result that you want, not who is going to win the fight. And that's sometimes where I get caught is that you just want to be right sometimes. You just want to, it's not necessarily win, but you just want to, make you defend your stance. But sometimes that doesn't lead to anything positive regardless, right? Sometimes walking away is just the clear thing that needs to happen. Sometimes saying some and stating some boundaries is what needs to happen. each situation is so different. So there's no, do this one thing and this is going to fix everything. It's, you got to start playing with this depending on the situation and the person that you're dealing with. And again, it's let people have their emotions. If somebody is angry, you don't need to fix it for them. Sometimes they just need to be with the emotion. Maybe sometimes they just need to be asked a question. Like, is something worrying you right now? Having them come up with the answers for themselves. Now, again, really depends on the situation. So you've got to gauge where you're at and who you're with. And if this is about you, have a deep desire to be your best self. And think about, if the best version of me was standing beside me right now, how would they handle it? What would they say? You're not always going to have a coach around you asking those right strategic questions, or a great friend that's going to, stop and get you to think about things from a different perspective. But one of the strongest things that you can do is start to be your own coach first. And I use that shifting of perspective based on your highest self as a really great way to start making different decisions in the moment. That's how you start to coach yourself. That's you being responsible and accountable for yourself. And so, the other part that comes up is, and oftentimes when you're in a battle with somebody, could be, somebody close to you, could be not, are the passive aggressive comments. And you would have always heard me say, it's like one of my biggest pet peeves, passive aggressive comments. I put such a focus in on the art of communication and speaking from your true self, and having the strength and the courage to use your voice. And so Brendon was talking about passive aggressive comments, and he said, just like, again, it's probably just how it hit me, but he said that passive aggressive comments are not knives. They're not meant to jab you. They're gates. They're an opening to something. And when he said that, I was like head explode. Like, yeah, again, when somebody is in that place where they feel the need to make passive aggressive comments, they are usually hurt or worried. That's not coming from a funny place. That's coming from a sad and dark place. And I'm not excusing that, but the majority of people have not been taught how to communicate. We come from many times, dysfunctional communication. And it's a skill that you need to learn, and you master through mastering your emotions. Most people don't get there, And so this information that we're talking about today is just one little piece of how to start to master yourself. Slow the process down. Start to be intentional with every act, every word, every thought that you have. And you will become happier, clearer. You'll have a more peaceful existence. You'll take less personally. And that to me is that's the key. We're not all just here reacting, although it looks like that because a lot of people are. It's time for us to become accountable and responsible and to help people along the way. When you learn something about yourself, share it. Unless somebody is connected to personal development and mastery, they're probably not there yet. They probably haven't learned it, right? And so this is how we can unite and start to teach people to ask the right questions. Have people dig in just a little bit deeper, because most people don't know always why they're really angry. They might know the surface level reason, that one thing that triggered them, the icing on top of the cake. But ask them 7 layers deep. Ask yourself 7 layers deep. Get down to the root of what really is actually bothering you, what really is triggering all that emotion. I think you're going to be surprised. I think I'm going to do a podcast just on the whole 7 layers deep why process. So that will come at some point. And, you know, it's about exploring situations. So you can either get caught into it, caught into the anger, it start to be a battle. That never feels good. You never feel great about yourself. It's not a win. But you can explore. You can ask questions. It really depends on how you want to show up with yourself and with other people. You know, a question that you can ask people too is, you know, is there something that you need right now? Sometimes just that question will get somebody out of anger and just into a place of logic and reason. Like, yeah, you know what? I feel alone right now. I need some support. You know, I'm stressed right now. I don't, you know, it could be something, it could just be anything. It could be something to do with finances. It just could be anything. And maybe it really is hurt within your relationship. And like I said, sometimes that has to do with like having boundaries and knowing when to walk away. You also got to ask yourself the question, do you want to make it better? There's no right or wrong answer there, but it's personal to you. And you need to be clear on that with the other person. Anger is like a prison. It keeps you caged, it keeps you small. You're not playing at your best. You'll miss out on amazing opportunities, on amazing friendships, on amazing relationships because it's guarded. Is that how you want to live? Or is that how you want the other person to live? But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's each one of our choices to stay stuck in it or to move through it. And if you're somebody who is angry all the time, you need to ask yourself, am I addicted to the anger? Because I can tell you one thing, when you let go of anger, you let go of chaos, you let go of feeling bitter or resentful, the only thing left are the choices that you have made that you then need to take responsibility for. And sometimes that is incredibly overwhelming. But if you move through that, I promise you, happiness and peacefulness and connectedness and possibility are on the other side of that. That's why I talk so much about courage, because it takes courage to get there. Courage and action are the magical ingredient to like everything. So on that note, I'm going to leave it at that. You know, hopefully we'll take some time to think about how anger shows up for you. As always, you can reach me on my website, charlottefro.com. I'm always active on my Facebook page, trying to add a lot of value and content in there for you guys. If you have any thoughts on topics that you would like me to talk about, send me a message on Facebook. Again, it's Charlotte Fro, Change by Choice. And I hope that you all have an amazing day filled with a little bit more peacefulness and some thought process. Take this information, start to journal a little bit, start to see where your own patterns are at. And I will see you on the flip side. All right, take care, everyone.